Hey, we're back for
Yeah.
Married to Medicine and talk that stuff. Get us up to speed on the drama that is Married to Medicine. Did you know
Mhm.
this was? I didn't realize until I watched the show that this was the yeah
Penultimate.
yeah. So I didn't know. So anyway,
Mhm.
so this last episode they're in Hilton Head, and
Mhm.
we didn't get to discuss the drama leading into Hilton Head, but um, that's where Curtis had his affair, and it was a whole debacle with Heavenly not going because Jackie wasn't going, all because of Curtis, which was interesting. I do agree with standing beside your friend, but I was like, they kind of took that overboard. But they all end up coming anyway. So they're in Hilton Head. And what I noticed is the first night when they got so loud that the neighbors were like, who are these Negroes? That's why we can't. It was Toya. Remember, I was saying in the previous episodes when her trip to Napa was so smooth because
Uh,
she's usually the one starting the mess, and here she goes starting a mess. And so, anyway, I was like, okay, so my little
but they all knew that was gonna happen. They all knew Toy was
yeah,
gonna say something,
yeah. I
and she
mean, Jackie
did.
said it, yeah, and she exactly did. So anyway, Sweet Tea got upset because, and I do see her side. I do see her side of it, but she got upset because basically she didn't want anybody to bring up her marriage issues and her stuff that happened in her marriage in the past, but they pretty much flaunted his ex-wife in front of her face and laughed about it and joked about it and talked about it in her house and all that kind of stuff. She is a newbie. They were hazing her and all that kind of stuff. But she was like, well, hold up. How come we got to hush up for her, but y'all didn't hush up for me? And I understood that, but she's young and she doesn't know how to like tailor her emotions and her shade like Jackie. And so she started cussing up like F you, B, whatever. So she was like giving Jackie the business. Jackie, trying to be prim and proper on camera, said nothing and was basically like, well, no, she told her, I think she initially told her to go off, and that's how she got cussed out. And then,
She
yeah,
said, "What? Say what you feel, or say what you gotta say, or something to
yeah,
that
yeah. Let it out. And she did. She definitely did. Um,
effect."
but yeah, but Jackie didn't
Mhm.
say anything at the time. But the next day they had well, the men and the women ended up splitting and doing the opposite of what they would normally do. So the men would typically go golfing, the women would
I have a
typically
question.
oh, okay.
Do you think they did that because of Kimmel?
Oh, probably so. I think that did have something to do with him, now that I think of it, because of his chauvinistic self.
But you know what? Okay, so this is something that I actually teach my students.
Uh-huh.
And we haven't learned. Well, my current year's students, they haven't learned it yet. But we're going to cover basically a lot of the different cultures in Africa and how they're
Mhm.
different from the United States. And because of their culture, they do things differently. They
Uh-huh.
believe different things, and how that has like a lasting effect on the economy.
Mm.
And so they're learning that, in order for your economy to change, or another way of saying it, become more advanced, you've got
Mhm.
to open up and you've got to let women do certain things. And once you allow women to do certain things, then as a culture, your culture won't be stagnant.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
sorry.
No. That's some good stuff. And you don't teach, you teach both boys and girls?
I do. Mhm,
Oh, okay. So yeah, that'll
mhm,
be good. That'll be good.
mhm, mhm.
But yeah, so I think that did have something to do with Kimma. And so the ladies on the way there is when Sweet Tea apologizes to Jackie, and Jackie gives her the apology is for you comment, and she was like, you think she accepted my apology? They were like, no, baby, no. And she didn't at that point. But so they go do their things. The ladies are golfing, and
But wait, before you say that,
yes.
let's take care of some business.
Okay.
We've got questions and we know you have answers, so make love to our senses in the comments. Drop them down below.
Yes, absolutely. And so the ladies go golfing, um, and they're all dressed for the part, but nobody can really play. How did you feel about that white guy calling them gals? Did you notice he called them gals?
I did not notice.
He's like, you gals can swim, so come on, gals, or something like.
Well, how did you feel about that?
I didn't like it because I'm just like, how y'all let him call? I mean, I know they from Georgia and they're in South Carolina. It's the South, but we grown. Don't call us no gals. I don't know. I didn't like that. But anyway, they had a cart that had liquor on it. Have you gone golfing before?
No, like not real golfing. Just kind of like hitting the ball.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done. I mean, mini golf, top golf, but not any of that. So I don't know that there's like a bar on the back.
But
yeah. So
what's it called? What's it called in Baton Rouge? What's the name of that place in Baton Rouge by Airline and I-10?
Yeah, you got me on anything in Baton Rouge.
Oh well, never mind.
I'm just like, it's been forever. I barely know where Southern is. But yeah, so they basically played like a fake golf game where it's like who can hit the ball the furthest. And so Toya kept trying to hit it, and she didn't.
She was tearing that ground up though.
Yeah, tearing it up. And Dr. Heavenly, she was like, "Can you see?"
And what Heavenly do?
Right, she got up there and basically did the same thing. I think it was Jackie and Simone hit theirs in the water, and it was Sweet Tea who actually did the best. And I think Alicia was second or something like that, and Heavenly actually ended up being, I think, third.
But did you see what Sweet Tea did when she won?
Oh, the little twerk. Or bounce it up and down. I mean, that's what 31-year-olds do when they win.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, like, you know, when you're in a certain crowd, you kind of like, you know, you have to purport yourself too, you know.
You would think, but I mean, you know what though? I would rather her be herself. Now that I think about it, like some of the stuff, you know, she can learn from them, but she can't be no old lady though. You know what I'm saying? Because they like 20 years older.
Okay, so is 60 really old?
It is when you're 30. When I'm 30 and I'm hanging out with 60-year-olds.
Well, Jackie's the only one that's 60. The rest of them are like late 40s, 50s.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like if I'm hanging out, I'm trying to think like 30 when I was 30. If I ever were to hang out with like 50-year-olds and I actually hang out with 30-year-olds now. Now that I think about it. Some of the people, not hang out, but the girls I dance with at 30.
Well, okay, and so when you were with your mom and her friends, how did you act?
Well, that's different because they're my mom and her friends. So I'm not going to twerk in front of my mom at any point. But they're her friend, they're her like castmates. I don't know. Like, I would think more like it's inappropriate if they were, I think that's my thing.
Well, I don't necessarily think that it was inappropriate. I think it's just more like things that you just don't do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't have a problem with it, but yeah, it was fine for me because she's 31 now. If Dr. Heavenly, and I think they all have done their bit of twerking. I mean, when Jackie got on the boat, didn't she almost half strip on the couch?
So this is the thing. So when Sweet Tea did it, I saw all in between all that.
Oh, so you'll be looking at both. I didn't even. I didn't take it. So I missed it. I'm gonna have to go back and see that.
What are we looking at, Michelle?
Both. Because I sure missed it. So the men, they go and do their cooking. And
speaking of, I didn't know that Cecil had such a huge stomach.
Oh, to me, I guess I noticed it.
See, I guess I don't pay attention to everything.
Yeah. I guess I was gonna say he usually wears stuff where I can see his stomach.
Okay, well.
I mean, I guess I didn't think it was huge, but it's, it's not flat. But any case, oh gosh, Anthony's home. He's got any case. So the guys, so when they split the teams up, and I knew Eugene was a captain, I knew right away. I was like, he's gonna win because he knows how to cook. And he was like, his smile was the biggest ever when they found out, what they were gonna do was an actual competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wanted to taste some of his stuff because they both sounded like they were pretty good dishes. Honestly.
Yeah. I think the only thing that Cecil did wrong was the rice. I think if he had gotten the rice right, it would have been, like what and what.
Yeah, a tighter tie or whatever. But
now, what I didn't know was that he was from the South Carolina area, because he said that he's Geechee.
Something. Yeah. So that, and I don't know if he really was from there or he just said that. I didn't get that he was from there, but I do remember him saying that though.
Well, the Geechee culture, South Carolina is just like the heart of it, but it extends into Georgia and what's the state right above South Carolina?
North Carolina?
Virginia?
Oh, Virginia. Well, North Carolina, then Virginia. But yeah, okay. So yeah, some of that, and then it seemed like Kima put some of his African something in there, right? So yeah, I'm sure they all had some decent flavor.
But did you hear what Kima said?
What did he say?
I would much prefer being on the golf course.
Oh yes, I'm sure they all would.
I mean, I think they all would, but at the same time, like it just comes across as more of his beliefs.
Yeah, his chauvinistic stuff, and I mean I'm like, is he playing this up for the show, or this is because it's like a lot with his little self?
Dude, you in America?
Come on now, get with it.
And you came to America for a reason.
Yeah, you got to get with the culture, brother. So Eugene his team won, and they ended up doing a yacht that night, and the yacht was very nice. And Simone was like, she's gonna behave, and they definitely flashed back to her misbehaving on these boats in the past. Which
what did she do? I'm new to Married to Medicine, so what did she do?
Well, they did the flashback, but it was one with her and Quad, because I forgot what it was. It was similar to what she felt like Quad wasn't being part of the group or whatever, so they went off. And then I feel like one might have been with Heavenly. I can't remember, but it was like loud in your face, almost like we're gonna fight type thing. But yeah.
So the two of them, they've always had issues. It seems like
her and Quad and her and Heavenly.
Simone and Heavenly.
Yeah, they had
not long term, but
yeah, it's almost been a little tension. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of like that Giselle and Karen thing, where it's kind of like, okay, we could play with each other and have fun, but then sometimes it gets serious, where it's like, okay, we for real. But yeah, so they get on this yacht, and then that's where Dr. Jackie, I was just like, I feel like she was doing the most, where she's like, they were like, "Ooh, Jackie, what you got on?" And she come pulling down her pants and all on the on the thing. She must have been a little tipsy, I think. She had
the thongs on. Is that what
yes. And I was just like, okay, Jackie,
give it to her. Give it to her. Yeah, size 0. Come on.
Right. Well, a little bit. And so they were out, just kind of chilling and talking or whatever. And first in the diary room, Jackie was like, she does owe Sweet Tea an apology for not slapping her in the mouth like a mother should. But then when Sweet Tea actually went to talk to her, now this I noticed because some people will, when they drunk, they get right in your face. And I felt like Sweet Tea was a little close. I don't know if you noticed.
She was very close.
She was very close.
Bothered me.
Yeah.
It bothered me.
And I was just like, whoa. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of. But they did clear the air. She was just like, look, I release you. You can release me. And she hugged her or whatever. So I feel like it was kind of like, to me, it was an interesting term, release. Kind of like, I'm not apologizing, but
that's what I thought she was saying until like more happened. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they are in a better space. Maybe, at the reunion, they might argue, but I still think that they're in a better space.
Yeah. And, Jackie got to live up to her reputation of being the quote unquote peacemaker. So she can't have, her looking like she the mean girl or something. But anyway, so the women go and serve the men. And it's kind of like I think a funny thing, but they all end up serving. Yes. Oh. Anyway, they end up serving the men. And they all, I guess, Toya serves her man first, Eugene first, and then the other one serve, and they give him a kiss. And they were like, the women went in one room and the men in the other room. And so they went to like ask the guys if, if they need anything else or whatever. And Eugene was like, well, tell Toya that I need a kiss. So she got deducted some points. So the guy goes,
oh, I think, okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what he said was he got deducted some points, meaning Eugene got deducted some points because Toya didn't kiss him. I think the guy just said it wrong.
Oh, okay.
The white guy.
So in any case, somebody got deducted some points. And so Toya was like, that's okay. I'll kiss you in private and I'll kiss your private. And so he goes out there and tells Eugene that. He gets super excited. What Toya was lying. Toya was like, I'm tired. I'm not about to kiss him. And Heavenly was like, ooh, I don't want to think about Eugene, little thing. She's like, she don't want no bite size. She need a full meal. Eugene, Toya was wrong for mentioning that on national TV, and they're gonna put it on every season.
Very wrong.
So wrong. And
like, he watches this.
Yeah.
I'm certain he has like complications as a result of it.
That might have been why he lost some weight, because they said for every
it's an inch.
Yeah. They're like, we can lose some of this weight. Show up. They might just start our own fan so he can prove it.
I'm gonna get some of this back.
Right. Oh my god. So her and like with her talking about that, they start talking about, somehow it came up with the culture. She was like, yeah, I need to get with Alicia's culture, so my mouth can stay sacred. And Alicia was like, well, at least I'm satisfied with his, penis or whatever. And they kept going back and forth. I do feel like Alicia held her own in that she didn't get upset. She was just kind of like going toe for toe with Toya. And Toya wasn't, and I don't know if Toya was just like kind of letting her slide, but Toya wasn't going like this for her. Yeah.
I do want to say this. In that moment, that was when I said Alicia can come back next season.
Yep. Because this is the first time we ever seen her kind of show up or do anything really, and then maybe they haven't shown her.
Who said it? Phaedra said last week. Was it last week or the week before last? She said Alicia really does a lot. They just never show it.
Oh, okay. So that could be the case. And then between her and her husband, bring it, because like the husbands, that could bring drama too. So it ends up being a good match. So she probably could come back next season. But she, was just like, look, I'm happy with my man. We don't use no toys. We all good. And I think she said something about her being controlled and trained. And she was like, he needs to train you. You need to be controlled. Now, I don't like the word control or trained or whatever, but what I will say is it is something about, I don't know if you noticed, like Dr. Heavenly, like her husband, Daddy, I forget his name right now, but anyway, he is very like cool, even keeled, but he can check Heavenly. So I wouldn't say control, but it's kind of like a level of like, look, and I'm trying to think. Definitely Curtis can check Dr. Jackie. I feel like Eugene can't check Toya. Simone and Curtis, I feel like sometimes like it's a little bit, but he can't really check her either. So it's but it's just that kind of level of, and not even check, but kind of like, okay, he can tell me when I'm doing the most and I can kind of bring it down.
So I think, I think he is, I think Cecil is the consummate Kappa. It's all about fun. It's all about a good time, fun and good times.
Yeah.
And so who knows what happens when those doors are closed? I do think that she runs the house. I think that she runs the house. But if he's still in that relationship, he has got to have his moments where he has his way. Got to.
Yeah, for him to just survive, this long. So they have a decent yacht party. No huge, and they must not have been loud enough for the men to hear, because they actually pointed out that the women got along and stuff. So they must have kept it low key enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so they head back home, and they had this little teepee party for each couple. It was cute, but it was small. Jackie said it was set up like a middle school, so Sweet Tea should be happy. And so I was like, see, you throwing that shade. When Sweet Tea get into that butt, don't get mad. But anyway, so
on that reunion, Jackie ain't gonna have nothing to say.
Okay, right. So they do the same thing they do on a lot of couples trip, where they have some type of exercise. And so that's what they do. They had the couples write down the major issue in their marriage. And I'm wondering why Phaedra was there. Like, just send Phaedra to bed. Like, this is a couples thing. And at this point, she just in y'all business, because she don't have nothing to share. And she ain't even sharing her man, her fake man. But anyway, that's another thing. But so the major issue for Curtis was social media. He felt like she's on her phone, like when they could be spending time together, she's on her phone on social media. And her thing was like, I'm tired from work. I just need to wind down and just kind of like do nothingness or whatever, which I get both sides. Like, I see where he could also save some of those trips to the Dominican Republic and stay home a little more. But in any case, they that was their issue. Toya, of course, is gonna chime in. She claims, like with the doctor, that you can't, that the time is limited. Like, they can't really make time for you. They have to do their work, and they're gonna be tired. So you have to respect that. So anyway, I'm like, okay, Toya. Alicia was saying learning to work together. And she's, I guess, in addition to a dentist, a real estate agent. And she wanted to invest into some property, where he wanted to invest into stock and crypto. And from what I got, she wanted to take that crypto out when it was cryptoing, and he didn't, and now it's not. So they kind of lost that. And she was saying we basically could have used that and been making more on this thing, which I get. His thing, rebuttal, was that she ain't the financial person, so basically stay out of it. She, I guess, the $150,000 she done ran through and can't account for it. So I don't think she necessarily needs to manage the money, but they can get together on the business. This is what we need to do.
Agreed.
Yeah. Jackie, they was asking about the level of sex. Jackie doesn't feel like they could have sex more, but she's tired. And she does have the O shot, but that's not helping. Daddy and Dr. Heavenly, of course, they say they are having enough sex. Eugene says yes now that he's lost weight and is a little more friskier. Cecil, when they ask Cecil, are they having no sex? Dr. Heavenly like, You remember her saying that?
I do, but I guess from my perspective, I was like, where is this coming from? Like,
you don't, okay. The history of Married to Medicine is always him like saying he needs some, and it's almost like she's like prudish and they don't really do it as often and stuff like that.
Does she love this man?
I think she does, but I think they've been together so long, they're probably really good friends, and it's not as important to her, or whatever, but yeah. And she could be tired. She is a doctor and has to get called in and stuff. So I don't know. T said that she's having enough, but wish they could have more. But she has her issues. So and we learned her stuff is called the hot box or the cooker. I don't even know why they let Phaedra answer, so I'm gonna skip her. But that was the end of that episode. But the season finale is next week. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so they continue. I guess they have an exercise where they say it must be their closing dinner, who all has mentioned the word I want a divorce. And almost every hand popped up. I was like, oh Lord. And then I guess they have a med gala where Heavenly calls out Toya for not donating. I'm interested to hear more about this. I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's so inappropriate and wrong, but I'm sure it'll be funny. And then Quad, this is where she makes her, because they kept saying she was coming back. So Quad will be back in this final episode. So yeah.
I want to hear what Toya has to say, because Toya got a mouth. Toya and Heavenly, they both got a mouth.
They both do.
the only thing that I was thinking in that moment was Toya is not going to say anything because she's there on behalf of her husband,
Yeah.
and she's just not. She's just not.
So yeah,
But
that reunion.
mm-hmm.
It's gonna come out because yeah, I'm sure because I think the only thing they said was she was like, yeah, I'm really finna go now because Quad was there. She was like, oh, and Quad here too. I'm really finna go. So yeah, I think she's gonna be respectful of her husband in that because it's it seems like if it was just them, she would have went off. But it's like, okay, these are other people. I'm on. Okay. But yeah, so I'll be interesting to see this finale.
Yeah. I would say that this season was a 6.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because I mean, as I go back, I'm trying to think of like the memorable moments or things I was like, "Ooh, that was good," or "Ooh, yes," and they're few and far between.
Yeah. I think the highlight would have been when they asked Quad to leave. I think that was a highlight.
And that still wasn't a highlight. Maybe Dr. Heavenly getting into the wedding. I don't know. It's just like different things that I think of, but they still wasn't enough to bump it up.
There was no crescendo in the moment, they weren't like arguing with each other. It was just like, oh, okay, all right, I'll deal with it, and they just left.
And unfortunately, it's because everybody seems to have a somewhat like each other and respect of each other. This season, you don't have that much drama, which we want to see it. So it's kind of interesting. Like if they had left Quad in there, and
we would have gotten that.
Yeah, we definitely would have gotten something. But
So are you saying that this show needs Quad?
I feel like she's a good part of the show. She definitely gives us what we want for this show.
So how has Phaedra been this season?
I feel like we could have done without Phaedra, honestly. I don't feel like she added anything to it. She added weird chakra things or whatever, but nothing. I can't say she brought anything to the show where I want her back next season.
Do you feel like her season 2 will be better?
I can't imagine, only because I feel like she's better on Married to Madison. I mean, on Atlanta, but she can't probably go back to Atlanta because of just the past. But Candy's not going.
Yeah.
So she may be able to go back to Atlanta. I feel like she's better there. Like, and it could be that she's Married to Medicine is different. So like, Phaedra, bringing Phaedra into that environment is different. She can't bring us what
she brought.
Yeah.
Speaking of Phaedra, have you been watching Traitors?
I have. I still haven't caught up on the last episode, but I have. And I do like her on Traitors. I do.
Yeah. And, she wasn't doing a whole lot in the first couple episodes other than the fact that she is a traitor. However, it just reminded me so much of why I love her so much. Like I'm not going to say I've always loved Phaedra. When she and Candy became close, that was when I started to like really like Phaedra. It wasn't until then that I started to like really like Phaedra. But on this last episode of Traitors, she really showed herself.
Okay.
I
liked when Dan, that's what I feel like, because this show is different. You got to bring a different part of you to the show. And Dan, when he tried to call her out, I was mad at that because he threw her under the bus, kind of leaving out the door. And you could have thrown Parvati, or you could have went somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
I actually think that was a smart move on his behalf. I really do. Because with Parvati, he had like a relationship prior to, so he probably wanted to save that relationship with her. And with Phaedra, they were just traitors together, right? So boom, let me throw suspicion onto Phaedra. Now, long term, that hurt Phaedra, and you're gonna see that in the episode you haven't yet seen.
Oh, okay, but yeah. So I just felt like, because it reminds me of Mafia. So if I'm in the Mafia, even though I get voted off, I'm still rooting for the Mafia. So I'm not going to try to, unless it's, I guess it's strategy or whatever. So I get why he did what he did, but he could have, I don't know. Because it wasn't going to save him. It wasn't enough to save him. And I think he underestimated.
It was his Hail Mary.
Yeah. So, but in any case, that's a different show. But yeah, so we'll be back.
It's a different show, which I think we ought to cover, Michelle. We ought to cover it, Michelle.
Okay, maybe after Married to Medicine or something, because I don't know if we can do 3.
Okay.
I'm already behind on the ones we got. But yeah, but I think, or maybe we can like recap up to a certain point or something like that. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, take care, and until next time, guys.
All right.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes.